Our second lesson on chords, just to recap lesson 1, we had our 2 black keys and C to the left. If we do a +4 +3 interval or count from the root note, we get major. +3 +4 gives us minor. +3 +3 +3 gives us diminished. And +4 +4 gives us augmented. Okay, so that's a recap. And we said that major chords have a nice, bright, cheerful sound. Minor has a sadder sound, would be used in music like Moonlight Sonata, whereas major keys were things like Happy Birthday or Jingle Bells. And then the diminished, we said, has a very dramatic effect, as does the augmented. Okay, so those ones aren't used as often as the major and minor. We also talked about being in root position, that anchor or root note, the foundation of the chord, which we count up from to find our other notes. Okay, today what we're going to cover in this lesson also is what's known as inversions. You may have heard this word before. And what an inversion means is we're going to form the chord on one of the other notes as our bottom note or starting foundation note of the chord. So I'm going to move down the keyboard. There's our C major chord again. But this time, what we're going to do is we're going to move up and put the E note, or the second note of the chord, as our bottom note, and then play the other notes above it. When we do that, that's known as a first inversion chord, and to make it a 4-note chord, we can always put the bottom note at the top as well. Okay, so C major, root position with C note. When we move up to the next note, we call it a first inversion. And when we move up to the next note and put that as the bottom note of the chord and build up from it, we call that a second inversion. Okay, so there, root is a 3-note triad chord. First inversion is a triad. Second chord inversion is a triad. Root is a 4-note chord. First inversion, 4 notes. Second inversion, 4 notes. Okay, once we move further up from that, we find we're back to root position again. So for a major chord, we have a root, first inversion and second inversion, and then you're back to root. So there can only be 2 inversions of a major chord. The same applies to minor. Root position, first inversion, second inversion. And as 4-note chords. And again, when you get to here, you're back into root position again. Okay, the diminished is more interesting. Because there are 4 separate notes in the chord, you have a root position, you have a first inversion, you have a second inversion, but you also have a third inversion. And then you return to root position. So root, first, second, third inversion, back to root. And the same for augmented. Root position, first inversion, second inversion, and back to root. Okay, so what that means is you can play chords in any combination of the notes. As a root position chord, a first inversion chord, a second inversion chord, or a root position. Why would we want to do this? Well, if our melodic line of the song, usually our top note, for instance in Jingle Bells, say it's this. Okay, I would play a second inversion onto that. Then up to a root position. Down to a first inversion, and back to a second inversion. That's if I wanted to harmonize or fill out the sound below the actual singing note. So hopefully that will help you understand the word inversion and what they mean and how to form them.